Welcome to the special edition of Hannity, the fake news epidemic. And tonight for the hour, we're going to show you the worst of the worst examples from the mainstream media in their unprecedented assault against President Trump. Now, this includes the top fake news anchors, reporters, the biggest anti-Trump print media outlets, and the most inexcusable example of the media spreading fake news to you, the American people. We'll also show you President Trump's most epic takedowns of the liberal mainstream media. After announcing his campaign, the president had faced an onslaught of historically negative media coverage. And on Monday, the president will continue to fight back against these attacks by unveiling what he's calling the most dishonest and corrupt media awards of the year. Now, before we get to all of that, it's important to show you just how abusively biased the anti-Trump media really is. And it starts with the media saying Donald Trump would never win, would never become the president. Take a look.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
This man has got some momentum, and we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket.
Next. I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on.
Sorry to laugh.
Which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump. At least I will go down as a president.
And then on election night after Trump's stunning victory, it was like a funeral for the mainstream media. You may remember some of this.
America is crying tonight. I'm not sure how much of America, but a very, very significant portion, and I mean literally crying. Yeah. This is a sadness. It is a mourning moment for those people, and it is a moment filled with fear. Filled with fear.
Our country is about to face some serious crises, and so, I mean, buckle up. Your country needs you.
It's a pretty extraordinary thing to say. If you have a son in the Marine Corps and that you don't trust the commander-in-chief. The people in the military defend the Constitution.
This was a white lash. This was a white lash against a changing country. It was a white lash against a black president in part.
And since the election, the media has done everything possible to try and damage President Trump by pushing, of course, the Trump Russia collusion narrative, despite no evidence whatsoever at this point. Look at this nonstop, shameful coverage.
I think this is a potentially more dangerous situation than Watergate, and we're at a very dangerous moment. And that's because we are looking at the possibility that the President of the United States and those around him during an election campaign colluded with a hostile foreign power to undermine the basis of our democracy.
Donald Trump is afraid. A political hurricane is out there at sea for him. We'll call it Hurricane Vladimir, if you will, the whole Russian thing.
This is evidence of willingness to commit collusion.
There's outright treason. I mean, there is no question that what he is doing is giving aid and comfort to the enemy.
Specifically, Willie, I think what it means is that a federal judge found that people in Trump's organization were colluding with the Russians.
But first, we want to start with This Week in Russiagate.
It is as if there are no shoes on the Trump human centipede that are not about Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia.
This cloud about collusion with Russia will hang over him no matter where he stands.
It certainly feels like we're in the opening stages of a devastating political chapter in American history. Evidence is mounting for the president's meddling in the Russia probe.
Tom Friedman said the election hacking is at the caliber of a Pearl Harbor or a 9/11. Do you agree with that?
I completely agree with that. Donald Trump now sits at the threshold of impeachment.
I personally think it's over. I don't think there's anything that can be done that can stop this at this point. Cacophony, this gushing of lies, problems, questions, chaos that will stop this presidency in its tracks.
You told the Washington Post last week that, quote, there's a smell of treason in the air when it comes to this investigation.
A lot of people are afraid to use the T word, treason, but in the end, that's what people are investigating.
It does look like collusion. It does look like he's listening to Putin more than he is American intelligence. And frankly, I've never seen that before.
Pretty unbelievable. Joining us now with reaction, former deputy assistant to the president, Fox News contributor Sebastian Gorka, and Fox News contributor Herman Cain. You know, Dr. Gorka, they never expected this. They couldn't. They were shocked by it all. It was a funeral on November 8th, 2016. But the worst part is, ever since, there's been an effort to undo or to delegitimize this president and get him out of office by any means necessary. So it gets really serious.
Yeah, I mean, not only did they not expect it, remember what the New York Times and the Huffington Post said? On the night of the election, Hillary has more than a 95% chance of winning. Not only did they not expect it, they still can't believe it. For all the talk in this awful new book and across the media about mental competence in the White House, do you know who needs mental help, Sean? All the people you just showed in your montage. The mainstream, they need mental health professionals to help them. I just had a journalist ask me today, based upon the Michael Wolff book, is it true that the president doesn't like anyone touching his toothbrush? Sean, that's journalism. Journalism. North Korea has nuclear missiles. The president's defeated ISIS. China's on the march. I mean, and they want to talk about the president's toothbrush. This is a bad skit. It's insanity.
It is a form of insanity. I'm not disagreeing with you. Herman Cain, you experienced all of this firsthand. You can speak from experience how bad this is, but it's still a lot worse for President Trump.
It is. And that opening montage was fantastic. It shows that the jokes are on the jokesters and the lies are on the liberals. And it also indicates, as Mr. Gorka alluded to, that TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, is an addiction because results don't matter. They don't care about the results of 2017. It's all about Trump Derangement Syndrome. And if I can borrow a metaphor from Mike Huckabee, addicts that are drug addicts, some of them recover. But the media TDS addicts, they show no signs of recovery. They are in a hole and they keep digging and they can't get out. That's what this illustrates, and it's sad for the country because we have depended so long on the media to give us the truth, and now we know that they are incapable of being able to do that.
You know, Dr. Gorka, as you look at, then the year of really trying to get him out of office, that's what their goal has been. Yes. But if at a lower level it's to delegitimize, and the words, the adjectives that are used on an hourly basis on cable TV and in supposedly, hard news journalistic centers, ABC, CBS, NBC is the worst, and, Washington Post, New York Times, that they use to describe the president. Are they hurting the office?
They're hurting the whole country, Sean. This is the duly elected president of the most powerful nation in the world, and they don't recognize that he is the president. They use the kinds of language we've never, ever seen before. Not with Nixon, not with Reagan. They are doing things that are utterly outrageous for a blogger to do on mainstream cable television. But, Sean, can I tell you the good news? The good news is very simple. Fox, you, your colleagues, are crushing it with viewers like 3-4 million people a night. Anderson Cooper cracks open a bottle of champagne if 600,000 people watch him. They are becoming irrelevant. I'm an American citizen now, and I'm proud to be. And you know what defines us? Common sense. When you get out of the bubble, they couldn't care less about Michael Wolff. They couldn't care less about Don Lemon. They want to see their paycheck in February be bigger than it was in January. They want to see ISIS crushed. So the American people see through the lies, and they tune into your show, and that's great news.
What do you make, Herman, of what I call this is the year of the boomerang? In other words, now we know that the Clinton Foundation is and has been for months investigated, which it should be. Now we know they've reopened an investigation into the email server scandal. Then we know that Comey and Peter Strzok literally rigged that investigation months before, writing an exoneration letter before an investigation. All of these things now, and Trump-Russia collusion dying out, it seems that there's been a dramatic turn of events that the media never expected. Did they ever admit at some point they were wrong about Trump and Russia? Do they look at Hillary Clinton funding a dossier full of lies, Russian propaganda, lies, and salacious material, and say that could be collusion? Was it used for a FISA warrant? I mean, to me, this is all flipped on them.
They will never admit it. Now, remember, the case on Hillary Clinton was closed during the Obama administration. It has now been reopened under the Trump administration. And even though Jeff Sessions gets a lot of criticism, I happen to believe, based upon all of the reports and the information we know, and based upon the outrage of Congress, I happen to believe, based upon that alone, Hillary is going down. Secondly, it is clear that the liberals and the Democrats have only one strategy, and it was used decades ago. If you keep telling a lie often enough, over and over and over, sooner or later, some people are going to believe it. The thing is, most of the people that are already believing the lie are already believing the lie. They aren't going to convert new people who are conservative voices out there, even though we are outnumbered. Sean, I truly believe we are saving some of the savable.
All right. Thank you both for being with us. We really appreciate it.